Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to From the Depths. It's episode 32 of the survival series featuring the Glorious and, well, the Glorious just got a little bigger. I have been doing a bit of remodeling off screen and our floats, which just used to come to about here, now stretch almost the entire length of the ship. This substantially increases buoyancy, allows for more weapons, and in a way acts as a huge bit of spaced armor. They have their own layer of spaced armor, just one layer. If these things get hit, so be it. I'm not going to be too sad about that. They have a couple of repair bots, they have compartments, they have their own air pump in every compartment. And this way I intend to increase the firepower of this ship. Now I'm going to try and go for a pretty large shell. I'm thinking in the range of 300 millimeters. It's probably going to be a single barrel gun. And they're going to be firing in different directions. What I plan to do is build a detection tower and basically have the float as its own little mainframe, its own detectors, and its own little gun system. And thereby allowing the AI to go for the various targets. So a target on this side could be engaged by a turret on this float and vice versa for the other side. And this way I can engage various different targets at the same time. So, in order to do that, let's see what I would need. I would need a detector tower, but first I'm going to put that turret into place. And I'm going to do that in a compartment where I have quite a bit of space, which is more or less the, let's say, the center of the float. And I'm going to do it one on this side first, but of course we're going to have to start out with a shell. This is probably going to be a pretty build-heavy episode in the sense that there is quite a bit of work that needs to be done. Now the shell that I'm going to be using is going to be something larger. I wanted to do quite a bit of damage to interior units. So stuff on the inside needs to get really shaken up. Penetration depth fuse. We're going to probably need a frag warhead. We're going to need a armor piercing head so that we can actually get through any kind of armor. And maybe something that boosts it like a solid warhead body. If I go for, well, maybe even 350s, I would need a 2-meter shell rack. I have only an armor pierce though of 10. That's a bit low. I could augment that by using a bit of rail draw. And, oh, actually that's not enough. The thing is, if I go for Sabo, it reduces it to just 25%. Whereas right now, damage per fragment is 1479. Now it's only 534. It does spawn 9 fragments, so it could still be a decent amount of damage. Armor pierce, still around 24. Ideally, I would slice right through the outer shell of a ship, and then have the rest of the shell penetrate on the inside of it. Now, since I'm using a Sabo warhead body there, I might as well use a Sabo head. And then let's see if I can get up to, yeah, there we go. I want to have at least 40, so we're going to go with 7500 rail draw, which means that it's going to be a rail-assisted shell. 2 gunpowder casings, a bit of penetration depth fuse, frag warhead body, Sabo head, 350 millimeter shell. Now, I want to have this on the other side as well, so gun, pen, frag, Sabo, and Sabo head. Why on 2 sides? Well, these things need to be semi-autonomously. And, of course, in order to do that, if one of them gets destroyed, it's not going to be able to feed what kind of information I want or what kind of shell I want to the other side. So that's why I'm going with 2 different ones. So, penetration depth fuse. We had a frag warhead body. We then had a Sabo warhead body, followed with a Sabo head. Check. 350-ish. There. 350. 7500. Rail draw 40.3. Not a terribly high amount of damage, but I'm hoping that it's going to be capable of doing damage to virtually all targets. Okay. Now then, the turret itself. It does not have huge amounts of room. And that kind of limits how big the turret can be, and with that it limits the amount of rate of fire that I can put onto it. Because it's going to be alright, I think. It's going to be an okay gun. It's not going to be stellar. It's not going to be 1,200 rounds a minute rate of fire. I don't think I could put that to work. We need, yeah, a 2-meter shell rack. So the belt-fed autoloaders are also out of the question. It just doesn't work with those things. What I can do is put quite a few of these things on here. Actually, maybe I can lie them down. Let's see, I'm just spitballing here. I have this amount of clearance. So that would mean that I could put an ammo clip on top of it. That doesn't work. Like that. Then I would have a cooling unit go through here. Oh shit, it's not the middle of the turret. Crap. Cancel that. Let's try this again. Start out with the cooling unit. Put it like that. 2 coolers. And then we had the autoloaders here. Shell clips onto it. And then followed by the ammo inputs. Oh, you don't have a loader. And here. Okay. These things all need to be taking information from the ammo system over there, but the problem is that since it doesn't know what sort of firing piece it's working with, because it doesn't have any, it cannot do anything. So first we're going to have to go with a couple of gauge increasers. And I'll probably replace, well, about half of them with coolers eventually. Or, well, permitting with the shape and the size of the hull, I might be able to go with something that does a dual barrel. Depending, of course, on whether I can afford it, because keep in mind, I need to be able to afford these things on both sides of the ship. So the turret itself cannot be terribly expensive. Now, ideally, I'd have a very sleek turret head, and this way I can just have a very, very small barbette. Let's see, where are you? Here you are. Actually, I couldn't even put a 350 on here, even if I wanted to. Because it just doesn't fit into the firing piece. You can do 1 500 or 2 450s, but that's about it. Oh, there we go. You now have a 500mm shell, okay. We're going to swap a few of these to cooling units. Still a 500, 456, 402, 430, 348. That's good enough. I'm going to adjust that here so I can work with exact stats. 348. 1183 muzzle velocity. That's also because I'm using rail draw. Armor pierce is okay. Reload time is 62 seconds. Material cost 9.9.16 per second, or per intake. I'm not sure if that's good or not, but we'll just have to, well, we'll just have to continue building and see if this thing is going to work. So, mantlet. It would be nice if this thing could also engage aerial targets. Considering the shell's quite fast, it might just work. Then we're going to go with, let's see, how much barrel length did you say you needed? You needed 2.5 meters? Huh. Barrel length for 0.03 accuracy is only 4 meters. On a 348? That seems very limited. Let's go with a heavy barrel. And supposedly I can put these things in between. Do they stack? Not sure. Bore evacuator allows yeah, this one doesn't stack. But this one does, as far as I can tell. Slightly reduces shell speed, that's fine. This way I can hopefully get quite a bit of the cooling built in as well. Alright, now we need to tell this gun what to work with. So let's go over to the ammo controllers. Let's see, which ID are you? So pick the right one. 1782. Understood. So you are 1782, assign everything. Alright, we can expect a rate of fire of 20 rounds a minute. And that's with the current setup. It's not exactly gonna stay that way because I can improve cooling, I can potentially put on more loading systems. I could probably optimize the whole turret as well. But I'm not sure how much time I have before I get another engagement. There are some targets around. And for now, at 0.1 or 0.01 times speed, it's not too bad. But you never know when these guys get a bit jumpy. Alright, I need to use these things. Let's see, how much would I need? Because I'm going to give this thing rail draw of maximum energy per shot, 7500. That's all that it really needs. And it needs, if I'm not mistaken, a recharge of, well, 7500 per per 3 seconds. Because I'm going to get that rate of fire up to that 19, round it up to 20 for ease. So we're at least going to need a few more cooling systems. And we're also going to use, of course, the charging systems. Otherwise the whole system won't work very well. We're up to 10.3 still. Hold on, are you connected? You are. I think we might need to play this thing a little different. I want to have a... no, not a 5-way gauge cooler. I can just do with a 2-way cooler. Like that. Put that there. Bring the cooling units up. Current 11, 11.8, 13.2, not terrible. Go with another. Gauge increaser. Oh, sorry, that's the gauge increaser. As I'm saying it, I'm thinking, hold on, that's not what I was doing. Cooling unit. Now the whole thing is going, what are we working with? Well, you're working with a 348, but now the... I think the thing is a bit confused. Assign all. Cooling 17.6. We are getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. Excellent. Cooling splitter. And then another cooling unit. 18.4. 19.1. 19.9. Good. So that's no longer a problem. The next part that we'll need is the railgun charger. To ensure that this thing can charge up enough. Rail use, 2416 per second. Capacity, 200. Capacity, 1000. Capacity... 1000 still. Ah, there we go. I had them in reverse. 1800. 2200. 2600. There we go. The recoil is going to be a bit high. I'm not even sure how high it's going to be. Because it's continually going up. I'm absorbing 167, but the recoil is already looking at 3000. So we're going to need some serious recoil absorbers here. 1100. Ah, the recoil goes up to 3200. That's not too difficult to balance out against. 3000. If I can put some of these things on, that gives me a bit more room to work with, I think. Because then I can remove this one and put another charger here. Charger, that's the other thing. Oh, crap, I didn't do that properly. Okay, go over there. There we are, back at 2600. Recoil. We can mount one of these things here. And another one up there. 2600 power. Recoil is more than sufficient. And I think the gun is mostly ready for a test fire. Of course, it still needs to be covered up and everything, but we'll get to that in a second. Now, my favorite weapon testing slot is number 3, because I don't think I have anything else on there. Well, maybe I do. Hold on. What other weapons are listening to command 3? Oh, yes, you guys. Right. You guys. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. We're going to have to hand this thing over to the AI after successful firing tests. I no longer need to take manual control of them. So we can just give this thing over to the AI, which means we'll need a weapon controller next to it. Disable that from 3. You're sitting all the way over there. Yep, here. Now, there are still a lot of AI improvements that I can make. It's just not the focal point of this particular episode. So at some point I might have different mainframes which are all targeting different weapon systems, or which are all controlling different weapon systems, so that the weapon that does best against chips is going to do exactly the damage against chips, and thereby making sure that I don't waste ammunition, for example a flak gun, on something that doesn't do very well against flak. Still turning. Shell out. Speed 1182. Actually, there is a target out there, but I'm not sure we can hit that. Barrel's cooling down. Capacity's perfectly fine. Actually, I have way too much capacity. I think I don't need nearly that much. Which means I can take off some of the rail magnets. So, these things. Capacity 20,000. If I'm not mistaken, then that is enough. Alright, buddy, you're my favorite new friend. You're going to be my target. Fire. Let's see what this does. Seems like they're sending missiles my way. How rude. I do fully expect this shell to get there sooner. Frag damage, 582. Oh, sorry, 528, and they have 9 fragments. Oh, it's one of those robot things. That's actually an interesting target, because I think that they are pretty much made out of metal. Yeah, bye-bye. Shell went all over the place, except to where I needed to go. Second attempt. Speed up the game slightly. Please tell me I can hit it this time around. Looks like the NTR guns are going off, and I missed it again. Alright. Third attempt. Let's just zoom in a bit. See if we can hit the lower portion. Shell out. That looks better. Now the real question is, how much damage did that actually do? So pausing the game fully. I hit it somewhere under its left arm. It's like in its left armpit, if a robot has those. Somewhere over here. Because it's no longer as sleek as it once was. But I'm not sure if I did much damage there. Ooh, that seems to be an AI. Can I just hit that thing squarely on the head? That'd be great. Because I want to see if I can actually get some damaging. Now it says 4.65 frag damage. Or kinetic. Oh, no, come on. Get me some damage. It's a bit underwhelming. Can I tell this thing to get more accurate by just looking exactly at what I want to shoot at? Of course, it might not be there by the time that the shell arrives. Okay, I just aimed right at its face, if you can call it that. There's a missile launcher over the left shoulder. That was the shell flying right overhead. Okay. Considering that we keep missing, I'm going to tell the railgun to use 20% of the energy for an accuracy buff. Shell and accuracy is 0.199. If I put this up to... yeah, okay. It seems like it's slowing down the shell a bit because it's getting used for accuracy. Hopefully, not too bad. Come on. Oh, that's going to skip. Now see, there's always something that I'm overlooking, and that's I'm not sure how much damage I'm actually doing to its internals. It might actually be a fairly decent amount of damage, but the game doesn't tell you about that. The game only tells you, hey, you did this much frag damage. If you do that frag damage, like British Knight pointed out, if you do that frag damage or any other kind of damage to internals, which in this case I am not, then you might actually be able to pen the target and do damage interior. Now, maybe the shell isn't right. Maybe I should go with something slightly different, because ability to detonate after passing X meters of armor. Depth distance 5 meters before the shell explodes. Or 0.01 second after it first hits the surface. If the shell runs out of kinetic energy, it will explode automatically. Okay, if I swap this thing over to have a high explosive warhead, it's going to explode interior, so it's not going to do frag damage. It's just going to do a flat-out high explosive damage. We're looking at 341 at a 2.2 explosive radius, so it's pretty bad, I think. I think the frag warhead might be better, but you guys in the comment section are probably going to have all sorts of advice for me there, which is very much appreciated. All right. I'm going to dress up this turret, and then we're going to set up the AI. A little while later, I have completed another turret barn, because this is hardly actually a turret as it's supposed to look. But it's time to incorporate some detector components, because these things, as I mentioned, are going to have their own detectors. So in order to fit that on, we're going to have to add a connector, and the connector is going to house a rangefinder, which for a gun like this, I imagine is going to be particularly important. Let's go for an armored rangefinder. It's going to sit on top of the turret like that. And this way it's going to, hopefully at least, have some survivability. The standard one has 1125 hit points and 30 armor. This one has 40 armor and 2100 hit points. And thereby I'm hoping that I don't have to constantly repair the thing. Now, to make sure that I have the detector and, more importantly, the transmitter, or rather the receiver, below decks, we're going to add another one of these. This one goes here, and the receiver is going to sit down there. I'm going to set this to channel 2, so it's going to have its own mainframe, which means that right now it's not receiving any kind of a command, and that's fine, as is. Whoa! That missile's not supposed to be there. That's a high explosive warhead. Looks like the Sea-Wiz are going off as much as they can. And some are able to blow up the missiles, but I might have to take action against that robot pretty soon. Something else that I want on this thing is, let's see, we already have the coincidence rangefinder. This thing is going to get a range error of 1.42. I would like very much that this thing has a really good accuracy. Range error is 0.02. Range error is 0.01. This one creates a detection 20 times per second. This one does it 15 times per second. Which one is better? 0.4. I think this one is better. Range error is 8%. Let's go with our laser rangefinder here. Alright, in order to protect these, I'm going to go with some more heavy armor. A couple of slopes here should do the trick. It's not going to be perfectly armored. And one sort of block that I'm still missing is a sort of 2x1 here. I don't think that those exist. You got these things, but that's not what I'm looking for. It's more of a 2x1 block. And considering that those, well, as far as I know, don't exist, let's first make sure that the turret gets sort of filled up over there. Yeah, I can do another 4-meter beam there. And a 2 here. This coincidence rangefinder only looks forward, so it doesn't matter that I cover up the back. It's not a problem. And this angle, you know what? I'm just going to keep it like that. It's fine. I also elongated the barrel, reducing the inaccuracy, and thereby hoping that the shells that it does fire will actually arrive at the target. Now, always check if your turret can still turn, because sometimes I manage to muck it up and they don't turn properly. As you can see, there's still a hole in the deck that needs patching. Rotating the gun. Still turning, yeah. Firing. The range has decreased, making the target easier to hit, hopefully. Especially boosted that with the longer shell, or the longer barrels. I'm expecting that this thing is going to be more accurate now, especially if I hand it over to the AI. Because the AI is definitely more accurate of a shooter than I am. Looks like we're going to hit him in the shoulder. And knock his shoulder joint clean off. That's one of his weapon systems gone. That was beautiful. Okay, now we're going to copy this thing over to the other side. So this particular sub-object is something I want to save. Sabo heat. No, it's not heat. It's Sabo frag 350mm. And then we're going to copy the whole thing over. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to be inside the hull. Now, did I already carve out some space on the other side as well? I didn't. Crap. So I first need to carve up the hull. Mirror mode it. Yeah, this is about right. Over there. Come on. Now, where exactly did I start building? I should have put that thing on there. Fortunately, I can still sort of figure it out, because I still have to cover up this part of the hull. I can still add a 3-meter beam here, and then I can remove it. And now it should also be gone on the other side. So, build it, remove it. Let's see if that worked. Yeah. Now I can fill this part in, and this one too. Oh, crap, that gives me a little bit more room than I would like. Because one must have been a 4 and one was a 3 length, that is. Yeah, that was the 4. Okay, there goes the 4. 3 goes behind it. And now I know exactly where to put that turret, because otherwise it won't be able to turn. There. Exactly there. Sub-objects. Where is it? 500mm sniper. No, this one. And it should be sitting exactly flat out on the deck. Click, and we have another weapon. The thing is, right now it's listening to the wrong channel, because this thing is going to get its own channel. Where is that particular block? Transmitter, or receiver rather, channel 3. Okay, back to mirror mode, because now I need to be building the mainframes on each side. Hello? Oh, we're building on the turret, I suppose. Yeah, that's it. I really want to see both of these guns fire at the same time at different targets. That's going to make it interesting. Okay. Now the detector, of course, is ideally mounted on a mast, but as I have mentioned, I kind of want to ensure that these things have their own little detector. Sonar is not great. I could put the detector on the turret, but that means I have to do some surgery on the turret itself. Yeah, why not? Because I still have some detector or some connector blocks here. And I can just put the radar, being a 360 radar, up here. Now I know that that means that the laser rangefinder is not going to be looking behind it, but I don't think that that's going to be a problem. Because the gun system is going to turn towards the target anyway. So then the rangefinder has an unobstructed view to the target. At least that's my current reasoning. So I'm hoping that this plan will work. There. And of course I have to do the surgery on the other side as well. So let's see which turret that was. No, no, no. I think it's this one. Yep. Alright, so that one gets removed. You're going to get in a couple new connector blocks. One there, one there, one there. Detector. Radar 360. Blocks. Heavy armor. Single block. And then 3 slopes. There. And I could even make this thing a little prettier with triangle corners like this. And then, of course, I have to do that on the other side as well. Which one are you? You're one of my 88s. No, 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 no. Yes. That's the one. That one over there. Right. Finally now, onto the mainframe. Shouldn't be too complex. Pretty straightforward weapon. And, oh, by the way, I need to ensure that this thing takes from 1781 you are? Yeah. Target, or rather take your shells from that. Okay, the AI. In order to make sure it doesn't get fried, let's first have a couple of surge protectors. Now, it should be possible to build the AI on top of that. This is going to be the mainframe that listens to channel 2. And the other one listens to channel 3. This is channel 3, because I'm looking at the starboard side. The other one's going to be listening in on the other, or transmitting on the other side. We're going to need an AI card slot. And this one is going to have plug and play cards. No, that's behavior. Aim point selector. And the target prioritization. The bigger they are, the harder they need to fall. And preferably faster as well. Because I don't want these things to get too close. GPP needed 4.1. Current processing power 4, so we're going to go with 2 more cards. There you go. This is the mainframe. Starboard float. AI has no maneuver, yeah, that's fine. Now to set up the local weapon controller. This one's going to be listening to channel 3. And please make sure you don't shoot me. That'd be great. Thank you. Listening to channel 3. And it has found a target. Rotating to meet it. Something far, far over there, I think. Yep. In the water. Potentially because the target over there is too low. I think that's what it might have been engaging. That's a good lesson right away, because I need to ensure that this thing doesn't target subs, because it can't. So at altitude bracket, at least, let's say at least 2 meters. No, 0 could be fine. Okay, copy that over. All the way here. Paste. This one's going to be listening to channel 2. You, sir, are going to be transmitting on channel 2. And you are named as the port float. Alright, and this way the guns should be going after, there we go, we already have it firing after their own targets. They have their own detector, they're tracking a target, they're looking at the distance to the target, and it's currently, oh, it's tracking 3 targets actually. A marksman, the marksman torso, and the Pequod. This one is tracking 4, because there's also a brood mother about, apparently. Line of sight left is disabled. That's actually not too bad, because I don't want you shooting to the left anyway. Because that would mean that you blow a hole in my tower. Preferably don't do that. So the fact that it cannot see anything there is fine. As long as it can see something, let's say, more or less behind me. Now, I could put another one of these turrets on. Because they're actually a bit cheaper than I had expected. So, let's... Oops. Let's see. No. No, no. Yes. I need to save this thing again. Sub-objects mode. Resave selected. That one. Because I can do another one of these turrets. I just need to ensure that I do it from here. What are we fixing here? A local weapon controller? That was a 40 mil going off, I think. I hope. The question is, does this compartment here have enough room? Yeah, it should. It should. And no, they're not going to be super firing. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way it's going to be. They're not going to be super firing. Where exactly are you? Here. Because one of them is always going to be in the way. It could be the front one, it could be the back one. One of them is always going to be in the way. Okay, patch that hole. And sub-objects mode. That's the one that I want. Bring that down. Are you actually... No. There. That's better. Okay, we need to check that these things have the right system set up. Local weapon controller. Failsafe. And a receiver. Listening to channel 3. It's already turning to meet something. The fact that it can turn is excellent. You better not fire there, buddy. I'm not even sure if it's loaded yet. It should be holding fire. If not, it's going to blow a couple of sizable holes in my ship. Paste. Now over to the other side. Oh, I also need to do the internals on the turret to tell it what system to talk on. This one was going to be channel 2. Paste. And then on the turret itself, let's see, you're the front one on the port side. Yeah, you're talking on channel 2, very good. Need to do that on the other side as well. It might need more detectors though. Hold on. I pasted on a couple of the older turrets. It's not really what I had in mind. I thought I resaved the object. Oh well. The other one's gonna have to provide enough detection for this this second turret. Where is the transmitter? Connector, wireless receiver here. Channel 3. Because otherwise it's gonna be looking at the same target. I spaced that out exactly right. New target detected over to the right, I think. There's a target there, gentlemen. Where are you even turning? I'm going to probably set up some firing arc restrictions here, because the way that this thing fires, or is trying to fire, is not ideal. There we go. Now it's opening up on the target over there. And its body on the other side should do the same thing. But all turrets are trying to do that. That's weird. Because there's a turret, or a target, on the other side as well, I thought. Yeah. Alright, I will sort this out after the video recording ends, which is going to be right about now. Hope you enjoy the new additions to this ship. It's looking more... Whoa, it just fired into my ship. It's looking more and more like a craft that happens to be a ship. It's more of a floating gun platform at this point. And hopefully it's going to allow me to live for another couple of episodes. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for the next one.